Welcome. Terry here is joining us on this popcorn bucket interview, I guess we can call it.
This is our first real interview.
Yeah, for Popcorn Bucket List.
Popcorn Bucket List.
So
this is pretty sweet.
thank you, Terry. Terry here is the host and co-creator of Scream It Off Screen, the film festival we participated in last month and we hope to see more of. Terry, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh yeah, it's my pleasure.
But yeah, we're here to talk about Scream It Off Screen, the film festival, kind of some of its origins, what you guys are doing. Ryan, you got a bunch of questions. Why don't you throw them out there? Let's get talking.
So a couple weeks ago, actually more like a month ago now, my friend James, if you're listening, what's up, dude? He was the one that turned me on to the show. I saw him at the ice arena, and he said, "Hey, you ever heard of this Scream It Off Screen thing? You can make movies and submit them." And I said, no, I never heard of that. So I went online, learned a bit about it, and it seemed like a cool idea. So we put in a movie, and we were lucky enough to get an interview with Terry. And now nobody around here had heard of Scream It Off Screen, so I had to kind of break it down for the people around here. Now, I'm sure people ask you quite often, like, what is it? And, just kind of explain to everybody so they know what it is.
Yeah, so it's a monthly short film competition. It happens the first Friday of every month, and basically anyone can submit who wants to submit. Your film has to be 15 minutes or less. It can't be a commercial, and it must be your own original work. And the whole thing with it is, somewhere within the first few minutes of the film, the audience watching has the opportunity to gong it or let it play. Gonging it means you don't want to see the rest of it. So, if there's a majority of gongs, it goes bye-bye. If there's a majority of let it plays, it plays. And that's the basis of it. I mean, there's a lot of like little details and stuff, but it's kind of like something we like to say is it's kind of like the Gong Show, but for short films. To sum it up.
That's what I was going to ask is what led you guys to think of using a gong instead of maybe just like a buzzer or like a thumbs up, thumbs down or anything like that? What led to the gong?
So this show started physically in person. We started in 2019 at the Parkway Theater. And I guess I don't know, I like the gong. I think the gong is fun. You can, you hit it and everyone likes seeing the gong.
Yep.
So it's just, I think it's just a fun thing. And like the whole Gong Show thing, we thought about the Gong Show. If people haven't seen that, I think it was a show from the 70s. It was like a game show, and people would come out and do things like talents that they had, I believe. And then I think it was like celebrity judges would gong it if they didn't like it or they decided to gong it, and then they would go bye-bye.
Yep. Yeah,
so, it's kind of based on that concept.
Okay. It's because I remember when I was looking at some of your other videos on YouTube, like the gong seems to be like a very prominent thing. And obviously we haven't been able to go in person. We'd like to do that once things kind of calm down. But the gong looks like a lot of fun. It just looks cool. And I agree. It's a fun thing. So the next question is, how did was this like your brainchild? Like, how did you come up with like, hey, we're going to do this film competition? And, like, just how did that, did you have a background in like movie theaters or like public access, or how did this come about?
No, I don't really have a background in public access or movie theaters. I've always liked making things. I do music stuff, and I've always made like little videos for fun. Mm-hmm. So I guess I'm just kind of a creative person, and me and my girlfriend Natalie just talked about, we had this idea for some reason, and then we started doing a version of Scream It Off Screen in our backyard. I think in 2018 we started doing that.
Okay.
and we just basically had friends come over and show their videos, and we had like a projector screen, and we did the gong thing. So like in the theater, people yell gong if they don't like it.
Yep.
And people would yell gong, and it was kind of a fun thing to do. And then eventually like more people started coming that we didn't know. And then we just thought, well, let's try to get this in a theater.
Mm-hmm.
And we reached out to the Parkway Theater, and then they were down to do it. So we went there. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's as far as like how you came up with that. I mean, I don't know. Like, how does anyone come up with anything, you know?
Yeah, good point.
You get an idea and you build on it and you think about it, and it ferments and it becomes, and it always changes. You know, it's changed a lot since we started it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was just an idea, and it grew from there.
That's cool. That's really cool. I like that. So I guess that kind of leads into the next one. Why Minneapolis? Is that just you guys live up there, I assume?
Yeah, that's just where we are.
Yeah.
So that's why Minneapolis. I think this would be really cool. We have talked about, before the pandemic, we were kind of getting ready to think about going to other cities and doing this, because we were starting to get pretty big in Minneapolis.
Yeah.
Like the theater was selling out the last few months before the pandemic, and people were starting to find out about it. So we were going to try and replicate that somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think it would be fun to go to LA, where a lot of people are making stuff.
Yep.
I mean, even like Wisconsin, like Madison or Milwaukee would be cool, or Chicago. New York, of course, I think would be really, really cool to try. And the thing about Minneapolis too is something we saw was that, well, there's not really an opportunity for filmmakers to get their stuff out there. Like, there's a few film festivals a year here where, you know, people can submit things, but I think with most of those, there is some sort of admission fee. And then also, I think it's kind of expected that you make something for that film. You know, like the 48-hour film festival, obviously that's the point of the film festival.
Yep.
But there's a few others too that I think the expectation is that you like make it for that festival. And a lot of times there's genre restrictions, and there's certain things you have to inject into the script and stuff. And I don't know. I mean, I think limits can be really good for creativity, but it's also limiting to creativity simultaneously. So we just wanted to give everyone who's making anything really a chance to have their stuff on a big screen in front of a captive audience, who's going to say what they think. Because that's the other thing about local stuff. I think, like, a lot of times people just equate any sort of local art to, oh, like, it's local, you know, good job. And I mean, that's fine. Like, I think it's great that people are making stuff. But I think doing an event like this gets other people to the theater who might not necessarily go to like a film festival to see local stuff.
Yeah.
Because, you know, they get to say what they think about it, and it's not just about, you know, watching these films and like patting everyone on the back and, you know, so yeah, I guess we felt there was definitely a need for it, because there's lots of stuff. There's lots of people making stuff here, and on many different levels, and some of them definitely aren't going to be able to get their stuff in a traditional film fest for whatever reason. Yep.
And I agree, because even like, we had no idea like what 15 videos are going to be shown, what 15 films are we going to see. It could be anything from stop motion to animated stuff to all kinds of just interesting things. And I think you're right about that, whereas when it's presented in that format, you have no idea what you're going to see and how people are going to react to it. But when it's more of the traditional, this genre, it needs to have this in it or include this topic, it really does kind of just restrict you, where you can do whatever you absolutely want. Like our film, we submitted Jado, And the only real reason we made that film was one of my friends got a lightsaber, and it was like, oh, these are sweet. Let's make a movie about it. And that's how it came to be. And yeah, I was proud of it, and like that's another thing. I think even if you get gonged, it's not like I wasn't like mad or upset or anything. Like it was so much fun to be a part of it.
Yeah.
He's lying. He knocked down a wall afterwards. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, but it was so much fun just to be in that kind of atmosphere and like experience that with everybody else. And it's like, yeah, that was fun. We'll do it again. We'll make something.
Do you think live you would have the same experience, or do you think it would be more traumatizing live?
See, I thought about that. Like, it would be. I don't know if I would say traumatizing. It would be kind of like, man, they didn't like that. That was awesome. But then it also kind of forces you to like, okay, well, why did they like that? Like, something wrong with these people, or did my movie just stink?
That was one of the fun things for me watching it. It was not to get too analytical here, but it was almost like live polling data for me watching that and seeing the chat go by as it was playing, which I think is a really, again, something that you don't really get with like a lot of other film festivals is people kind of keep to themselves. They talk about what they think about it afterwards or whatever. This is with your guys it's basically you're asking the audience, let us know what you think while you're thinking it.
Yeah.
And it gives a whole new opportunity to watch this in a whole new light, I think, which I think is really great.
Because watching in a crowd where you're just watching the film is way different than watching where you're watching with a bunch of other people and we're all talking about it as it's happening. And I think that was really fun. It was cool.
The live chat thing, was something, of course we didn't have a live chat when we were in the theater. But the live chat thing has become, like Nick was saying, it's like, like a live sort of commentary thing, which is really interesting. I know some people have said when you go back to the theater, you should try and keep some kind of live chat thing going somehow. But I just think, people should be watching the films in the theater. So we probably won't do that. But it is a cool aspect. And we might try and keep some kind of live stream going when we do it in the theater. So people at home can watch it as well. And they can still participate on the online part of it.
Yep, because we kind of talked about that too. Like COVID and everything's gone and it goes back to normal. Are these still going to be live streamed? Like for example, the month we entered in, there was I think a guy from New Zealand, and like unless
you guys had a pretty far-reaching audience. One was from New Zealand. There was a couple from Arizona, I believe, a couple from New York as well. And I think you kind of mentioned that thinking about taking the film festival to other cities and everything. But yeah, the audience is definitely growing.
Yeah, we've had a few other international submissions. I think India, someone from Germany, and then where's that one from? I always forget that. Yeah, then someone from Philippines has submitted, I think, 3 times.
Okay, that's cool.
But yeah, and then like a lot of national submissions.
So I want to talk about with this last month's edition, you had sort of a Queen's Gambit theme. How do you guys decide on the themes and kind of how did that start?
I'd say they start pretty organically. Sometimes there aren't really set themes. Queen's Gambit night was definitely a very unique, probably the most themed one we've had yet. When we were in the theater, we had like a baseball theme, I think one time, like a loose baseball theme. We had kind of like a doctor theme one time.
I think you mentioned the Queen's Gambit thing didn't like become an idea till like that day or even that hour. Was that it was pretty shortly before you guys went live, right?
Yeah, it was a pretty last minute decision because we got that guy to play chess, and yeah, I mean we knew like it was last minute. I whipped that thing together. We did the video thing, and we had to do black and white for Queen's Gambit, So I don't know. Like there's never like a set theme, I guess, to answer your question. There is sometimes, but it's not like we think every time, oh, there has to be a theme.
Yep.
If something comes to somebody, then we'll maybe whip it together. But
I got
there's never like we have to do this. We don't feel that way.
Yeah, that's cool. Now you keep saying we. Now is it you two that put it on, or is there like do you have a wide net of people that help out, or kind of how does that work?
Oh, I refer to myself as we.
Oh, okay, perfect.
No, I'm just kidding around.
I was gonna say. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
There's a little, for those of you who are watching, there's a little bit of a lag on the Zoom, so we all thought he was serious there for a second. So how many people do kind of work on these, roughly?
Well, it's so like pretty much everything is me and Natalie. And then the day of the show, we have some people help us, on the crew. But Natalie pretty much does, like she does all of the OBS stuff.
Okay.
And has to do all that. But yeah, we like make all the content for the show, and there's lots. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically just us. And we have, like I said, we have a few people who help us on the day of the show.
Yep. That's kind of like Popcorn Bucket List for us. We kind of along the same lines, like we don't have set things. We talk about trailers and talk about what we're excited to see. Luckily, we have a good relationship with the theater in town, and we just kind of can talk.
Yeah,
movies.
we try to do a news story or something big like that, and almost nothing big ever happens till the day we record or something like that.
And
we'll have a planned news thing, and then like that night, all of a sudden, Wonder Woman moves to HBO Max, and we're like, oh, well, now we got to completely re-scrap everything.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, and so well, that's cool. It sounds like you guys work hard and work a lot because, we know how it can be pretty tricky trying to get all these things, and one little problem shows up and it's like, all right, well, we got to figure it out.
It definitely is a lot of work, and my mind is pretty fried. I guess both of our minds are pretty fried, like after the show is over. Mm-hmm. Because we're setting up. It for me, it's difficult because I have to think about some of the technical things and also just the proceedings of the show at the same time. And it gets to be a bit much. I feel like my head's gonna explode sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a lot of work. Yeah, it is.
Well, you guys do a great job.
Well, thank you.
Couple things. What are maybe some crazy stories, if you have any? Like, I'm sure when this was in person, with a crowd full of people and everybody chanting gong, I think that could get pretty fun. You guys, you have any like wild stories or anything like remarkable or rememberable happen that you can think of?
Yeah, I think every night was pretty remarkable in some way or another. One time, something that happened that was kind of funny was, so I'll just kind of tell you how we did things in the theater a little bit. So originally we started off with just people yelling gong, and then if people didn't want gong, they would yell "let it play" as like a retort,
Yep.
And I would do my best to be like, oh, it should be gonged or it shouldn't, but it was difficult. So we eventually did a thing where if it seemed sketchy and it seemed like there was a lot of let it plays and there was a lot of gongs, I would like go on stage, have them pause the film, and then I would have people stand if they wanted to see the rest of it. And if the majority of the crowd stood, then we would just watch it and no one could say anything.
Yeah.
But before we did that system, it was kind of like a weird thing because, like a few people could be yelling gong throughout the whole film, and it just kind of like ruined it because, people were yelling. And so before that happened, it was just a night at the theater. It was pretty packed. Yeah. And there was this guy in the front row, like probably 3/4 into the show, after one of the films that got gonged, I think, he stood up and he said, yeah, everybody shut up. And then he said something like, F all you gongers. Like, give this stuff a chance or something. I forgot exactly what he said, but he's just like, F all you gongers. And
That's awesome.
I just kind of like let him talk. It was kind of funny. And I don't think he really said much else. Oh, he said stand up. Oh, okay. He said if you want to support this film, like stand up if you want to support them. And I think that's probably kind of how we got the idea of doing the stand up thing.
Yeah.
But before then we hadn't done that. That same night there was like, he was with some people up front who were it was like a couple and they were in some fight, it seemed like. And they were like hitting each other and people were telling them to shut up. And, I mean, yeah, it was kind of wacky.
None of them were trying to. None of the people in the audience were trying to resolve the fight. They just wanted to move it somewhere else, basically, right?
Yeah. I think people were like shushing them and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like, but yeah, it is kind of an atmosphere where you feel like anything goes.
Yeah.
And when we first started, the crowd was a little older, and it was more the people in the neighborhood that the theater's in. And it's in South Minneapolis, and it's a nice neighborhood, so it's mostly older, middle-aged people.
Yep.
And I think we mostly had people coming in who were advertised the event by like the Parkway Theater. So what they liked was kind of different from what we maybe liked more.
Yep.
But as the show went on, we got a more younger crowd, and then stuff would play that wouldn't have played back then.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool to see. And I got one more kind of funny story.
Yeah.
There's a lot, but there's at the first Scream It Off screen ever at the Parkway Theater, January 2019, there was a filmmaker who submitted, and he's kind of like a hot shot local filmmaker. Yep. I think he owns a theater in a suburb of the Twin Cities, and he submitted, and he kind of had some reservations about the event. There were sort of like some online banter about how it's bad and stuff, but whatever. Yep. We don't really care about that. But he still submitted, and I think he was like the second or third film of the night, probably like third or fourth probably. The first film got gonged, and then it was pretty ruthless. Like it was this younger girl, and it got gonged. So people, I think, were kind of surprised, like they hadn't seen this before, and they're like, "Oh, geez," And we have filmmakers come up and introduce their film if they want. Yep. Before every film, they come up on stage and they can introduce it. It's up to them. So this guy comes up and introduces his film, and he kind of just says, "Well, I just want to say, there are kids in this film, and they put a lot of work into it, and they are here tonight. So please, like, if you don't want to scar them for life, don't gong them tonight." And then like people were just booing. Yeah. And then this one guy said like, "F the children." And they were just sitting there and so we played it. And of course, right when the red light went on, it was just resounding gong. Yeah. And he got gonged, and I think like their whole party kind of stormed out of the theater after that. Yeah. And that's the last we saw of him. Yeah.
I appreciate his strategy, but in a weird way, he was almost daring them to gong it at that point then, but I do appreciate the tactics at least.
Yeah, it's like it's an emotional thing that'll probably work for some people. Generally, when people get too in depth about their film or about anything, like I think at the last one we did in like last March, two Marches ago, March 2020 in the theater, last event in the theater, there was two art school guys who did a film, and they did a long intro to their film, and it involved one of them like eating paper on stage. And that went pretty bad. Like, 45 seconds in, people were just kind of like booing and yelling gong. Yeah. And I think that might be why they got gonged, because they had this intro that I guess people didn't like. So yeah, I think I've learned that it's probably best to keep it short and simple, and not do anything too crazy. because people don't like that usually.
Yeah. Because then it seems it's more about them than maybe necessarily about the film itself, or they just take themselves too seriously, kind of. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. One girl did like a back handspring, and people really seemed to like that.
That's cool. Yeah.
I don't know.
If I could do a back handspring.
I was gonna say that's what our intro
next
was
time.
missing.
Yeah.
Was Ryan doing a back handspring? I don't even know what that would be. I don't know how you do that.
I'd probably break something.
I was just reminded of one more fun story.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So the second one we ever did, like we had this introduction where the gong is brought out to the theme song that I made with a friend of mine for the show, and the interns bring out the gong, and then I hit it, and then I kind of like rile around on the ground and stuff, but I hit it, and then I just jumped into this side stage thing, like this elevated stage thing that has like metal edging. Ooh. And I like hit it right here. Ooh. And I saw stars and stuff, and I didn't get knocked out. And like, what happened? Like, so the idea is they like help me up, and then there's a piano player there who plays the theme like in a sad kind of slower way after the song stops. Mm-hmm. And he was playing that, and then I was like bleeding and shit. And then the lights were supposed to go off, so the lights went off, and then I did like a costume change. Oh, the lights were off. Yeah. And then I came out and like, I was just bleeding blood down my thing, and I finished the show. A friend of mine just put a bandage on it, and after the show I went to the emergency room and got stitches.
Ooh, like a true
luckily
professional.
I wasn't concussed.
Yeah.
But
that's a true
professional. I think a lot of people thought I was just screwing around and it was fake. But it was real.
Yeah. Put your body on the line for your work. I like it. Yeah,
well, had to keep going. It was only the second one.
Show must go on.
We were still being tested. We were still on the ringer there. So like we had to keep it going. I couldn't just quit.
Yep. So we as we kind of alluded to earlier, we do have some Red Baron pizza. Now I noticed maybe it was just for that one-off show, but the last show, March, there was a very delicious looking pizza on there. And we're a little biased because Schwann's, I don't know if you know the food company Schwann's, that's our
I know
hometown.
Schwann's. I know all about Schwann's.
Yeah, we got the Red Baron pizza, and it's quite good. And we're going to eat it after this. So
feels like we should at least acknowledge it so people weren't like, why is there just a pizza sitting there?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the other thing I love about your guys' show is you have just all these fun little, and you asked the people to call in. You had like a phone number on there, like guess the toppings and all that, and there was like so many toppings and everything on there. So
yeah, did either of you call in?
Yes.
Yep. Or try to call in?
I called in. I tried a ton. I called in and talked about the queen. The queen is my favorite piece in chess because it can move multiple directions.
Okay, yeah.
Yep. That was my
I remember
tidbit.
that, yeah.
Yep.
And then our guy Alex running the control room, he was the guy who called you about your car warranty. I don't know if you remember that at the end there.
Oh, wow. Hey, that was really good, Alex. That did remind me of, I do get a car warranty call pretty regularly.
Oh.
And that was you had a good voice.
Yeah, we probably get once a day, twice a day sometimes get those. But yeah, it's the same thing. You say your car is super old and they just hang up on you. And it's yeah.
I usually do like a Lamborghini Murcielago and then they just hang up.
Yeah. That's good. So I guess as we're getting closer to the end, we talk about all this crazy stuff and awesome stuff that you're doing. What's the best way for people to support you to keep Scream It Off Screen, keep it alive, keep it going? What are some ways that people can help out, I guess, in a sense?
Well, I think first off, people can come back and watch every month or like every other month or every few months. I mean, every month preferably, so you can be a part of the fun. if you're a filmmaker or just someone who makes videos, whatever you want to call it, submit. See what people think about your show, or sorry, your film. And of course, like we set up a Patreon recently, and if you want to support the show, I think that's a good way to show that you like what we're doing and you want us to keep it going, because it is a lot of work and takes a lot of time to put on. And we have some fun levels in the Patreon. We're going to start doing more with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Yep.
And I guess follow us on Instagram too. Facebook kind of sucks and it goes downhill. So
yeah,
I guess go to Facebook and like if you want, but I don't know. I think Facebook sucks. Oh, you can also sign up for our email list, so you never miss a Scream It Off Screen again.
Okay. Oh, perfect. And you guys have
you can do that on our website, screamitoffscreen.com.
Okay. So, and I noticed you guys have some pretty cool shirts. I really like the Scream It Off Scream logo, or Scream It Off Screen. Sorry. Sometimes I get tongue-tied when saying that name. But the shirts are super cool.
Worries.
The shirts are super cool. I'm going to order one. Waiting for that stimulus check to come. Need that money. So
yeah, the logo, Natalie made the logo. And yeah, it turned out pretty good.
Yeah, I really like it. I like it a lot.
Good.
So, all right. Well, is there anything else you wanna fill us in? You wanna tell us about? Just anything else you want to say?
I hope we said some good stuff today, and I hope people enjoy watching this. And I hope that people out there keep making stuff and don't worry too much about what you do. The guy I was talking to last night, Willie, he won last Scream It Off Screen with that
was hilarious,
video.
By the way.
If you want to check that out, go to the Talks with Terry YouTube channel, and I have some other interviews. I'm just doing interviews with, like, all the winners and other people too, I guess, who want to do it.
Yeah, we'll put some links for your stuff in the description. So check the description below. That's what they say on all the YouTube videos?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So we'll have that down there for them. Definitely go check them out. There's some really funny videos. I think there's a couple how-to videos on there too. Maybe like chop some onions or something. I
on
say.
The Scream It Off Screen channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did that. I think that was like July or August rules video. Mm-hmm. And within the rules video, I had links to, like, because I was making a stuffed green peppers, mm-hmm. and within the rules video, I had links to go to those videos so you could see how to do those parts of making the stuffed green peppers.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So they're still up there now for everyone to watch if they want to watch it.
Yeah,
but it might not make sense out of context.
I had no idea. I was like, oh, okay, we're chopping some peppers. All right.
Yeah, and that's why everyone out there should subscribe to Scream It Off Screen and watch religiously every month, so you're in the know and in the group.
Yeah,
so you know what's happening, so you're not left out.
Yeah, before we watched, I felt like I had no idea anything about Screamy. It's just this character, and now after watching one episode, I feel we connected, and I feel I have a bond with him now. I that's how I feel.
You feel like that with everybody after talking to him for like 20 seconds, though. So,
yeah, Screamy, he's a good dude. He's a good dude. He's good. He has a hidden talent. Well, it's not hidden, but painting. That was wild.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. That's the other thing. People, I think we've mentioned this a few times, but you have so many other like side things going on throughout the film festival. Like we mentioned the Queen's Gambit theme. You had like Screamy facing off against a guy doing chess while also doing this painting, and you had that to cut away to in between each films. Like there's something going on all the time. It's almost like a carnival. There's almost something always going on, which is really great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. It's pretty crazy.
Well, Terry, I'd like to thank you so much for coming on here. We'll maybe hopefully chat with you some other time, but we of course look forward to joining you guys at future film festivals. We had a blast watching this one last March. We hope you guys keep going on for a long time, and we hope to be submitting stuff here for the foreseeable future and everything too. So we'd like to thank you so much for coming on this show here, talking with us about all your projects, all the hard work you do. I love the fact that it's just you guys being creative and just wanting other people's creative ideas and works to get out there. So thank you for all you do.
Yeah, no problem. I think it's great to form some kind of like community of people, and it's been really, really rewarding and cool to see that people are getting something out of it. So it's been fun. But yeah, thanks so much for having me on the show.